Okay. Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's session of the Global Optometry Student Summit. Today is the grand finale, and it's actually the last day of the conference. And I am your host for today. My name is Josephine Jimin. I'm a year 3 optometry student from the University of Benin from Nigeria. So I'm your host for today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you very much. Okay, so briefly, without wasting much time, I would like to invite the director of Students Communications for, first of all, okay. Okay, so first of all, from Australia, which is Mr. Luke Quadros. So please, sir, can you talk to us? You have the mic now.
Yes, good afternoon or evening to everybody, depending on where you live. My name is Luke Quadros, and I'm a fourth-year optometry student from South Australia. A few months ago, I joined OptoGlobe as the Director of Student Communications for Australia, and I was very thrilled to be offered this position by our founder, Pemage, and I resonated very well with his mission statement and his goals for our community. I draw a lot of similarities between the future of OptoGlobe and our friends in other fields like medicine and dentistry, who all have similar, well-established international student associations. Optometry is a very advancing field, and it's only really existed in Australia for about 100 years, which is very short compared to other health careers. Optometrists are very highly skilled professionals who are gifted in restoring and preserving sight. This is exciting for all of us as we anticipate our future, but receiving this gift, unfortunately, does not come without hard work. Optometry is not an easy degree by any means, and over my 4 years, I've definitely struggled a lot at times. The significance of a global optometry student community cannot be overstated. In an era where technology bridges the distances and fosters collaboration, best practices can transcend geographical boundaries. This provides us with a global perspective which enriches our education and equips us to tackle emerging challenges in optometry with innovative solutions. A global community also fosters cultural exchange, enhancing our understanding of how optometry is practiced in different parts of the world. This exposure can inspire us to adopt a diverse approach and techniques that may not be prevalent in our local contexts. By learning from each other, we can elevate the standard of eye care globally, ensuring that everybody, regardless of their location, has access to quality optometric services. Moreover, the sense of belonging to a worldwide network provides emotional and psychological support. Knowing that there are heaps of students and professionals who share similar experiences and aspirations can be incredibly motivating. It creates a support system where we can seek advice, share our successes, and navigate challenges together. Advocacy is another critical aspect of a global community. United, our voices are stronger, and we can effectively campaign for policies that benefit our profession and the patients that we serve. Whether it's lobbying for better educational resources, more research funding, or a broader scope of practice, a collective effort can bring about significant change. Additionally, OptoGlobe can serve as a platform for professional development. By organizing webinars, workshops, and conferences, we can provide opportunities for continuous learning and skill enhancement. These events can feature renowned experts in optometry, offering insights into the latest advancements and trends in our field. Being part of OptoGlobe is not just about professional growth. It's about making lifelong connections and friendships. The relationships that we build here can lead to collaborations that advance our careers and contribute to the global optometry community. So, what is the importance of having a global optometry student community? Well, that answer is largely up to you, the student, as a member of our community. Will you utilize this community for networking to enhance your professional career by connecting with like-minded individuals across the globe? Perhaps you will keep updated with our blog posts to strengthen your university education. Or maybe you will join other students in advocating for expanding scope of practice, something I'm sure we would all love to see. The importance of a global optometry student community lies in its ability to connect, educate, and empower us. OptoGlobe is in its early stages, yes, but the possibilities are endless. So please embrace the opportunities it presents as we work together to shape a brighter future for optometry. Thank you, and I look forward to getting to know each of you more.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Luquadros. Thank you very much for your word. Thank you very much. So our next director of student communications would be from Europe, and that would be okay. All right. So let's go with the one from Africa first, which is Mr. Don Comac. So please, the mic is yours.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I greet you all. Yeah. So, to our esteemed guest speakers, the board of directors, and then the fellow optometry students here, I greet you all. And then I'm really honored to be given the opportunity to address all of you and also to welcome you to our first OptoGlobe Global Summit. This is an event that marks a significant milestone in our journey towards global collaboration in the field of optometry. And OptoGlobe was founded by Pemije Gadimore on the 7th April 2024. And then he contacted me about his vision and mission. And then we saw that it's a great idea. It's going to help us to also go on an international level as optometry students, wherever you are. So we supported the idea. And then today we are happy to host our very first global meeting in partnership with the Voice International. The theme of this summit is the importance of a global optometry students community for students in the Europe, Australia, and then Africa today. And then I must say that this is a massive opportunity for us all to engage with the insights and then the experiences of the leading figures in the field of optometry, which will truly enrich our understanding of the challenges and then the opportunities that lie ahead for us in our profession. As we embark on this journey together, let us all remember that the success of OptoGlobe hinges on our active participation and then the commitment to this collaboration. Let us all maximize this opportunity to connect and then also to learn from one another, to share our experiences and work together to build a brighter future for the optometry profession and for the millions of people who rely on our expertise. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We're glad to have you. So, without wasting much time, I would like to invite our first speaker for today. And first of all, before I invite our first speaker, I would like you to pick your pen and your paper, your pen, your notes, your pen, your jotter, whatever works for you. But trust me, you're going to learn, you're going to have an amazing time. So please take your pen, pick up your paper, your jotter, your notes, any of them, and be ready to learn. So now, are you ready to welcome the first speaker? So the first is Dr. Uchechukwu LEVI, OSUAGWU, PhD, MSc, OD, FAOO. Career summary. Dr. LEVI is a senior lecturer and academic lead at the Baptist Rural Clinical School, School of Medicine at Western Sydney University, Australia. He obtained his OD from Abia State University, PhD from Queensland University of Technology in 2018, and has become a recognized expert in the public and eye health research with more than 102 peer-reviewed publications in high-impact journals. He is an award-winning researcher and a member of the Global Burden of Disease Group. Dr. LEVI is the president of the American Academy of Optometry Africa chapter, board director of research and advocacy of the African Council of Optometry, AFCO, and the convener of two renowned research groups, Africa Translational Research Group and Center for Eye Care and Public Health Intervention Initiative, which brought together world-renowned researchers in the eye and the public health. Dr. LEVI works in coordinating various local and international research projects for population screening, identification, and prevention of diabetes, complications, and health promotion with multidisciplinary translational policy implications. Dr. LEVI has collaborated with researchers in leading international and Australian institutions, and with these collaborations, recently received Research Champion Award from the African Australians in NSW, won the WSU Research Support Grant, nominated for VC's Early Career Research Awards 2021. Awarded Best Multidisciplinary Team Award in 2022, and various local and international research grants, supervision, monitoring. Dr. LEVI mentors young professionals and recently started the African Federation of Optometry Students, AFOS, an initiative that connects African optometry students, areas of research, ophthalmology and vision sciences, public health, epidemiology, diabetes prevention and management, health, mental health. So that is the bio of Dr. LEVI. So now we welcome on board Dr. LEVI, our first speaker, prepared to learn, prepared to have an impactful session. And I look forward to receiving a lot of questions from you, because I believe that when you learn, you will definitely ask questions. Thank you very much, Dr. LEVI, please. May we have you, sir?
Yeah, thanks, Josephine, for that elaborate introduction. You know, it felt like something different today. Look, if you want to go to the next slide, that's good. There's really no need to go through this again. And the next slide, please. Yeah, so I think this was just necessary to show you guys that there is no limit to what you can achieve. You know, I was once a student like you. I participated in so many activities as a student, but we didn't have such opportunity like this then. I was the president of the Optical Society of America, now changed the name to the Optical Society, when I was doing my PhD at QUT. I learned a lot just being in that group because we went for several conferences in the US as a student, sponsored by OSA. While in school too, I was part of the transition committee that was set up after Dr. Anderson, who was the president before my turn, left, and I was brought on board to kind of put some structure to Nigerian Optometry Student Association then in APSU. So I have been in that board, so I understand the importance of what you're doing today, because if there was a platform like this, there'll be so many changes that would have happened during our time as well. Now, if you want to go to the next slide, that would be great. So I think I want to start this with a story. You know, when I remember my days as an optometry student, you know, I felt so isolated. There wasn't a global network like this that we were aware of. Optometry school was too long at some point. We felt it was too long. I started in 1993. When I completed my youth service, it was 2004. At this time, some of my mates who were in other schools, other departments, when they traveled abroad, they had their PhD even before I finished my OD. So that's how frustrated it was. And I know some of my colleagues here who are still in Nigeria would attest to that as well, because the situation hasn't changed so much, if it hasn't gotten worse anyway. So I saw the need to do more. I saw the need to learn. And I want to know this opportunity when I had the chance to visit Uniband as a transition committee chairman. We went for this Nigerian Optometry Student Association meeting. And meeting the guys in Uniband, I learned a lot from them. We shared ideas during this meeting. We talked about resources, but something stood out for me. They had the opportunity to do externship program while they were in their 4th years. And that stuck with us because we're 2 of us that traveled. I'm like, wow. So you guys, so they talk about the terms of practicals, you know, retinoscopy, more than we would talk about them. And I felt, look, I needed to have this experience. And I started seeking for opportunities for that. I'll come to that story later, but that opportunity changed my life. Within that period too, that's when I connected with Godwin Ovenseri, who then was the outgoing president when Lekki Okotete took charge of the association. You know, we connected right away. And I can tell you the power of connection between both of us, that today Godwin is the only person who is from Nigeria that I have published the most number of articles besides a friend who is in Australia here. So we have continued to work together right then from school till date. So many things we've done together because we connected at that 4th point as students. So the power of student connection cannot be overestimated. Now, I decided from that day when I leave, I'm going to seek for a voluntary opportunity to do clinical placements. And that particular decision brought me to where I am today. Do you want to go to the next slide? Yeah, so I think we've talked about a lot about global optometry student community. The last 2 speakers spoke eloquently well. They laid out all these benefits of what we can achieve. But I want to let this word sink into all of us today is, if we don't act, nobody's going to do it for us. So if this group does not stand up and start to make changes, there will not be any opportunity like this. It will take a long time for this similar movement to come aboard. So there's no way you can underestimate the cultural exchange that goes across this platform. That you learn how different people in different countries practice optometry, that you learn how the education process in those countries are undertaken, that you learn how their knowledge is being transmitted, how their clinical practice is something that you cannot underestimate, because you don't know where practice is going to take you. I'm in Australia today. It wasn't planned. It happened out of opportunity that I was seeking. So some of you as well will be partly in Australia someday, but that relationship with people in Australia today will teach you a lot of lessons that will help you succeed wherever you are. There's also opportunity for us to look at the global awareness. We need to understand the role that we play as optometrists in the global space. You know, let's look beyond our countries and look at where else can we see ourselves fitted in the space of prevention, in eye health, in public health. There's a lot of gaps there that we can fill as a community. So I want the students today to start thinking about that, Optometry is not a very narrow profession. There's huge opportunities for you. You need to seek for those. Do you want to go to the next slide? Now, an example of a global optometry student community that we started is the AFOS that just got mentioned. It's African Federation of Optometry Students. We came up with this slogan, one vision, one African, better sight everywhere. Now, AFOS was founded in 2024, just after I spoken to Pamije, when I met, I saw OptoGlobe online, I rang him up and we had a chat. That was when AFOS was being initiated. And for AFOS, our activities and operations are co-designed with the students. Currently, there are 20 optometry schools represented across Africa. Each school has volunteered 2 representatives who were suggested by either the head of school or their student representative or advisors. Now, this network is being led by students, and we want students to take charge of what the activities of that network will be. The vision and mission was crafted by students, voted and agreed upon, and that's what is guiding our operations today. The next slide, please. Now, so the main aim of AFOS is to establish a continental student umbrella that would hold regular meetings and discuss issues of concern. We want to create a platform for shared experiences where African students can learn, help each other, and to exchange information. We want to start to develop leadership platforms so people can start to take leadership opportunities and build their skill set in that area. We've started working with different organizations in collaborations. CEFI, for instance, VOSH had a presentation with us the other time, and now we are working closely with VOSH to reinstate some of the VOSH chapters in African schools so they can start working with VOSH again. So that is already ongoing, and I think Pamija mentioned that yesterday. Thanks for that, for alluding to that as well. Now, currently, we are also doing some school vision program across different schools in Africa. This was sponsored by a Canadian NGO, and students are really gaining a lot from this. And there will be papers and research from that program as well. Now, we are also opening network with the American Academy of Optometry, where they had a presentation with us to tell the students the opportunities that are there to even become a student fellow. These were things that some of the students were not aware before. But this time they knew that you can become a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry even just before you graduate from school. The opportunities are there, and there's also a fast-track program that you can belong to and get your fellowship in time. There's nothing better than awareness. It's the empowerment that we need to take the right steps. Now, through AFOS, again, we are facilitating student membership with AFCO. AFCO is the African Council of Optometry. We want students to play different roles in these local professional bodies, because from that change, we come from ground to the top. You want to go to the next slide? Now, with the global network comes the role of digital platforms. And I heard Luke talk about that very clearly. In this modern day and age, nothing is limiting us from achieving what we want to achieve. And I'll give you an instance of a program I was part of in 2023. So Africademics is a program that was founded in 2019. It's a scholarship platform, and they take students on board, early career researchers, young scholars, and they train them to become scholarship ambassadors. All the training workshops we had and mentoring workshop, all held online. For the 23 individuals that I went through as a scholarship ambassador, we've never met ourselves before. Lena Gromback is the founder of this group. We've not seen before, but we exchange emails, we talk on the phone. It looks as if we know ourselves more than anybody else. Now, you can see the power of just that networking online platforms. We didn't need to have any personal connection. We just needed a platform where we can interact, exchange ideas. And today, they've trained more than 100 scholarship ambassadors, and they've supported about 200 scholarships within this network. And that's the power of digital platforms. So let's not underestimate what is happening here today and through OptoGlobe as well. If you want to go to the next slide, that would be great. Now, the other part I want to bring to you as well is the power of collaboration. With this platform, you have opportunities to work with people from VOSH, from American Academy of Optometry, and we've done that as an African chapter. I attended the academy for the first time 2 years ago. I saw the need to empower Africans. At the time when we joined, there were about 50 African fellows right from the time academy has started. That's decades ago. But within a year, we were able to increase that number by 210%. That's because we created awareness, we provided platform for mentorship, and people were willing to take that step. And today, as I'm talking to you now, in the next 3-4 months, there will be close to 10 optometrists from Africa who will be going to the Indiana to be inducted as fellows. This all started from a questionnaire that we ran. We sent out questionnaires to African optometrists in our platform who expressed interest to be candidates for fellowship. And we found that 72% of them actually wanted to become fellows. But 82 of this population were not aware of how to go about it. So that awareness is the power that we have today. Although they knew the benefits of being fellows, they did not know how to start the process. And that is where empowerment of OptoGlobe comes to for us. That connection with people to tell you what opportunities are out there, what you can do as a student, makes you see strengths and not limitations. And through the African chapter, we've been able to do that today. And I can boast to you that the next 5 years, we will have more Africans in the academy than any country, any continent will have, because of the way people are embracing this program. There's a lot of benefits in being part of this global network. Excellence in optometry is what the academy stands for. There's opportunities, resources, there are travel grants that you can get. There are platforms you can join for leadership program. There are certificates that you can get for clinical excellence, for glaucoma practice, dry eye. There's a lot of special interest groups. And those are open to you once you leave this university, as an intern. So as an intern, you can actually be part of these groups once you get to your fellowship. So there's nothing stopping us today to think about that as soon as we are graduating from school, because we're still thinking like students. So we can write all those case reports and get to the process much faster. Want to go to the next slide? Now, the other thing also I wanted to tell us is there's power in seeking for opportunities. When you seek for opportunities, know what you want. And if those opportunities come, it is good that you embrace them. I like this quote. It says, opportunities are gifts that are wrapped in hard work and integrity. Value them, seize them, and let your character shine through every chance you're given. Be the person who everybody wants to work with. I met this young girl from someone who I had worked with in Saudi Arabia, flicked me an email, Dr. Levi, this individual is trying to connect with you, and she doesn't know how to reach you. Can I please pass your email to her? I said, yeah, of course, yes. And that email was the start of a journey for this young girl. And today, as I'm talking to you, after several online meetings we met, we've known each other since 2000. The first time we met ourselves was 2023 in Melbourne. We've worked together, we've published up to 7 peer-reviewed articles. Because she connected with the right people, today she's a current fellow of the American Academy of Optometry. She's now had a full funded scholarship for her PhD here in Western State University. And we have collaborated with so many authors, global networks that she would never have met without this collaboration. Now, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people, but reach out to the right people and ask the right questions. So each time you have a meeting, it's an opportunity to say what you exactly want to achieve with that connection, with that network. So people often miss opportunities because they think it's dressed in overalls and it looks like a walk again. So they just run away. But every opportunity can offer you something that you cannot get a second chance for. Want to go to the next slide? Now, through these collaborations of OptoGlobe and the global community of Optometry too, you can build leadership skills. I want to encourage you to contribute to your local optometry chapters. Nigerian Optometry Association is holding a conference, and we had asked some of our members for AFOS to go represent us, to put hands on deck, help them, help in registration, help in transporting people. What can you do for your local association? That's where they say charity starts from home. You need to demonstrate that active role. And from there, you can build leadership skills. Take up roles in OPTOGLOBE. I mean, it takes time, it's tedious, but that's the only way you can build those skill sets, by practicing them. Engage in student optometry organizations, form a broader professional network, join research association, join networks, seek out mentorship. People you like what they are doing, you value their progress, send them an email, ask them if they can be your mentor. And when they are your mentor, be honest, be truthful, do the right thing, be ready to do the work. Develop soft skills. You don't have to only wait. Things are not only learned in school. You can learn communication. You can learn teamwork. You can learn Microsoft package. You can learn Excel spreadsheet. You can learn statistical analysis on your own. There are YouTube videos, because those skills will be useful to you at one point when you meet these networks. So it's good to get yourself prepared. Pursue continuing education. It may cost you money, but the opportunities of that money, when it comes to you, you might lose it because you don't have those skill sets. Think of something that interests you. Go for it. Do some extra work. Learn on your free time. I think these are the things that we need. And with that, you will be well placed for when opportunities come up to take them and use them properly. You want to go to the next slide? Now, CEFI, like I mentioned, is another organization that I co-founded. It's Center for Eye and Public Health Intervention Initiative. Through CEFI, our aim is to build research capacity. It was formed in 2020 with domicile in UKZ and in South Africa. About 12 members of CEFI from different fields of optometry, public health, biostatistics, communication, epidemiology. We've got them. It's about 4 countries are represented in CEFI. And CEFI has other different arms, smaller arms like subcommittees that work in dry eye, glaucoma prevention, myopia management, standardization of eye care practice across Africa. These are individuals who are not core members of CEFI, but they work with CEFI for different projects. We want to support research in Africa. And recently in last year, we had the students of KNUST in Ghana present their final year projects to us before they started them. Because that's what we're asking them. Can we help you develop a quality research so that when you finish this research, you can publish them? You can use those publications to get a PhD, to get a master's, whatever you're going to. And today I can tell you, out of that, 3 of them presented in AVO this year. 2 of those students have their abstract accepted in American Academy of Optometry, which are the ones you see on the right. And CEFI members worked with them to make sure that these articles were of quality. Now, today they are writing 2 of those papers to be published in peer-reviewed journals. So we organize research workshops again. We open this opportunity to all the African schools, and we want them to embrace it, because this opportunity were not there when I was. If it was there, we wouldn't be where we are today. We may have gone beyond where you're seeing us. But OptoGlobe brings you into that space where you have these networks. Vogue talks to you. You can email them. You can email CEFI. You can contact the American Academy for Optometry from this platform. And you need to know what you're asking them for. So be strategic in what your problems are. And if it's building research capacity, don't feel restricted to contact CEFI, because that's what you want to build. You want to see the young optometrists take the lead in research across the world. And that's where the change will come from. Now go to the next slide. Now, I also titled this, I said, chase your passion, not your pension. And that's important that we listen to this. Because I told you the story when I decided to chase the opportunity to do my externship. Now, that was a turning point in my study. So I took a semester holiday and I went to my dad, look, I want to do externship somewhere. I went to different optometry practices in Abia State. Then I didn't get the appointment. Then somehow this ophthalmologist offered me to observe his practice at Abia State University Teaching Hospital. And lovely, I was so happy, ecstatic. I was jumping up. I went to the clinic, started working with him. My job was to take visual acuity, case history, and then I can observe him when he's refracting and treating patients. Now, one day he called me and said, Levi, why are you doing optometry? I said, look, I just like the practice. I like the profession. And he said, look, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time studying optometry. And you're too young. Why don't you go back to medical school? You can go back to year 1. The next 5 years, you're a doctor. I think optometry is just a backdoor to you guys answering doctor. This was somebody who was supposed to be my mentor, teaching me a way to refer, telling me why I shouldn't be there. For me, that was a motivation for me. It didn't disturb me. And from that point, I decided I'm going to be a better optometrist. I'm going to make the change to let them know that optometrists are not just backdoor to being a doctor. And here we are today. That's why I showed my first positions in the second slide, because if I had believed this person, I may not have been here today. I knew what my passion was. I knew I could make a difference. I had the dream. I followed it. I was focused. And here we are today speaking to young people as well who may be thinking like that. You may have heard these words. Somebody may have said it to you and make you feel inferior, make you feel like the practice you're into doesn't make sense. Exactly, just mostly because the ophthalmology and optometry divide. You may have heard this all the time in your placements. But look, optometry is a big thing. It's not just about eye care. It's all about public health, holistic management of patients. There's a lot you can do. And I think if you focus that and make yourself stand out in your skill set, there is nothing you can't do. And that's what challenged me. And from that day onwards, optometry was my second name. And that's why we are here today. Want to go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So recently, I had a book launch also. This is an optometrist working in public health, publishing a book, doing work in epidemiology. That is the person the person they told, you cannot do this as optometry. You have to change to medicine. And I looked at myself today, I said, together as a community here, students that we are, we can see further than what this man told me. We can create innovations. We can make lasting impacts on the eye care globally. And through this network that I shared with you, these dreams are possible. You just have to connect, find time, reach out when you have problems. Look for people that can mentor you. And these groups are very willing to support this network. And as much as we can support the students, that's the future of optometry that we all dream for. You want to go to the next slide? Now, remember, if you limit your choices, you're only limiting what seems possible or reasonable. You disconnect yourself from what you truly want. And all that is left is a compromise. So our choices should not be limited by what you're saying today. And I remember those words, Levi, you're watering down our prestige. Why do we have to wash our dirty linen in public? A Nigerian female fellow of the American Academy told me this when we started the African chapter of the American Academy. The mentorship we brought to young people, to them, was just useless. Why do we have to bring people who have 1 year of experience to come and become fellows? And if I had listened to that voice today, the 10 individuals who are going through now will not be fellows tomorrow. The individuals who became fellows last year will still be somewhere not knowing the process and what to do. But those voices didn't stop us. So you may have, starting this community, people told Pamela so many things. I remember speaking to Pamela, I said, Levi, even people don't believe what I'm doing. And I said, you don't have to listen to them. What is your dream? What do you want to achieve? Focus on it. If you're doing the right thing, it will work out. They will join you later. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone. You have the vision. Any other person is a duplicate. If you feel it, you dream about it, work towards it. They will come on board later. And at that time, you make the call. You decide how the game is played. So that's the voice that I had. And you may have had that voice today as a student. You're not going to go anywhere with optometry. That's not true. What is driving you? What's your passion? I want us today at the end of this discussion to think about why are you in OptoGlo? What do you want to do? What's your passion? What do you want to bring on board? Be clear about it and follow it. We are all here to support you. Go to the next slide, please. So I think with that, I want to welcome questions and answers. Look, Western Sydney University is my place. My email can be shared with you. Pamela has it, and some of you here as well. Please do feel free to ask any question. I just thought this presentation is not, people have spoken about global optometry a lot. I listened to the last 2 sessions. I was there the first time, but I think this was, some people here need to hear it because there are so many negative voices when you start such movement like this. And I don't want you guys to listen to that. Look at what you want to achieve. This is a wonderful opportunity. Please play a big role and make sure you connect with other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much. That was such an impactful session. Thank you very much, sir. So right now, we'll be taking questions. We have questions for you. I'm sure a lot of persons have questions for you because I personally, I have a lot of questions to ask. But let me go to the people and listen to what they have to say. Okay. So the first question is, how do I join AFOS? That's AFOS. How do I join? That's the first question.
Yeah, so if you email me or email Pamije, I think Ijoma is here, any of them, you know, and which school you're coming from, they will reach out to you. But the students are leading this. We are only there just to facilitate what's happening. So Pamije, if you can post my email on the chat, that would be great. Just email me and I'll connect you to the students from your school.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the next question is, please, can we get a copy of the slide? Thank you so much, Dr. Levi.
Yeah, Pamija has the slide already. I think you guys shared it, so you can always share that with my permission. There's no issues with that.
All right. Okay. It says, please, are there any channels or blogs we follow to keep up with new advances in optometry? Are there new channels or blogs that we can follow to keep up with new advances in optometry? So that's the next question.
Yeah, I think the first place to start is your local associations because they connect you to any new information that is happening. For instance, the Nigerian Optometry Association is holding their next conference early next month. That conference, there'll be groundbreaking research information. There'll be people speaking from different places. Make sure you attend such events because it connects you to what's happening. The other part also is to look at how you can join the American Academy of Optometry platform. They do have a student forum. So if you're interested as well, please do email me because there's opportunity to become a student fellow, which opens up the resources to know what's happening in the area of eye health and what information you want. You can always ask questions and get what you need. So there are different platforms as well. CEFI does work with a lot of groups. African Council of Optometry is there. Make yourself available for those meetings. If you see them online, attend them if you can. And please do reach out anytime you need any information. We can always link you up to where you need to be. So I think those platforms are where to start, and I guess that will help everyone here.
Okay, so those are the questions we have under the Q&A. But then if you have other questions that you would like to ask, you can please raise your hand so that we can allow you to ask your question, please. Okay, there's a new question. Let me check this. Okay, so the next question is, what's the email we are going to send to be a student member of AAO?
So the AAO email is online, but again, if you email me that network, I can connect you directly to who you can reach out to, and we can provide that information as well. The African chapter will facilitate that if you're from Africa. If not, there are different international chapters. The Indian chapter exists, the North American chapter, the European Academy of Optometry exists. They all have that linkage. But reach out to me and I can link you to wherever it should be.
Okay, I think Josephine may be having some network connection issues. So if you have any questions and you would love to ask through speaking, you can just identify by raising up your hands. Okay, I think 2 persons are raising their hands. Dr. Maria, okay, Martin Lukwata. So Martin Lukwata, please go ahead. You can ask your question.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Good evening, everyone. But yes, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
So I
Martin.
was saying, yes, I a bit went offline, but I wanted to know how uh we can join the groups of the American Academy of Optometry, and maybe the other question is, how such opportunities reached Uganda? Because it's like I heard that take abstracts from all the universities in Africa teaching optometry. So I don't know whether such opportunities have reached Uganda, because I think it's Makerere University Optometry here. So I don't know whether the opportunities have reached there so far. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Martin, the first question is joining the American Academy of Optometry. If you can join AFOS as well, AFOS does have members from Makerere University. There are 2 members from your school who were suggested to us by the head of school, and they are also part of the platform. If you can email AFOS, I think the email is on the chat there. We can connect you to those members. We already had a presentation from the American Academy of Optometry. There are slides we can share with you, and some of the members are also working towards becoming academy fellows, even as a student as well. So that presentation happened. Pamidia was there. Some of you guys there also attended. So we can share that information with you. We can connect you to the right sources. Just email that, the AFOS email, or at once send me an email and we can connect from there. Then I think the second one is your school, Makerere University. We also have your members, like I said. So we also are willing to connect you. The president of AFOS is here. She can email you, or you can email her, and you guys can connect, and they will link you up to those who are there. Very soon, we're going to open a wider network of all African students on a platform. That's almost happening this week. When that is open, all African students who are willing to join AFOS are welcome to be on that platform. At this moment, it's only the leaders who are planning the process, and we're going to open up a wider network for every student who wants to be part of it. So watch out for that soon.
Thank you very
Okay,
much, sir. So
thank
before
you.
we
Thank you very
move
much.
on,
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think there was a break in my network, but I'm back now. All right, thank you very much, doctor. Now I can ask my question, since we have received other questions from the other people, the other participants. So my question is, you mentioned something about learning soft skills. Okay, so you said there's no limits that we should learn. It's not about studying in school, that it's about also learning. So my question now is it okay for an optometry student to actually, while in school, learn, let's say, a business skill, let's say, for instance, creating adverts, then, okay, like, is it okay? Because I feel like, I don't know, it's a bit contradicting, or do you think it can be meshed together to actually make it to become something like make it to become one that you can actually use it with optometry, I mean, business and then medical life? So that's my question, sir.
Yeah, I think that's something that really, that's why I say you don't limit yourself to what you know. I can tell you a story. Diane Van Staden was a lecturer in UKZ in South Africa. She was a very dedicated optometrist. She left that job to go and learn how to do podcast. And today she's doing podcast as her profession. She's hosted so many world-renowned persons. I was a guest speaker in her show, and that's her passion. That skill set in optometry can be applied in so many domains. Here in School of Medicine, where we teach, students are allowed to go learn communication during their summer holidays. They do research in, say, in IT. They do research in biomedical sciences. So you need to learn those soft skills, because in this global world that we are in now, optometry is not just about eye care. Optometry is about communication as well. Optometry is about knowing how to use your computers. You have to have IT skills. Telemedicine is now the order of the day. How do you practice that if you don't know how to use your systems? If you don't know how to use softwares, how to install them? So all these connections, somehow, you will find a way to link them up. But when you're going to do that, you wouldn't know. But if you don't have those skills, you miss the opportunity. So anytime you have, do something different. Learn how to use software for statistical analysis. Optometrists do research too. Why don't you learn to use SPSS? Why don't you use Excel to do your analysis, descriptive analysis, your mean, standard deviations? I did my PhD in optometry peripheral vision. But while I was doing my PhD, I did all my statistics myself. Most of my colleagues didn't. I learned those skills, and those skills set today is why I'm able to publish up to 100 papers. But I do my analysis myself. I understand it. I went to classes. I volunteered to learn from statisticians. I sat in lectures that were not part of my PhD. That's why I say if you have a vision, pursue it. There is no limit to what you can do in this global world now. So don't limit yourself. Any soft skill you learn today, there'll be a place to use it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. That's actually answered a lot of things that were going through my mind. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for this session. We are really glad to have you here. We are happy I learned, and I'm sure every other participant also learned. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, so briefly, before I'll be calling on the next speaker, I want us to do a little exercise. If you want to join OptoGlobe, there is a link in the chat. So go to the chat and you get a link there. There's a link there. You join OptoGlobe. So briefly, just do that. If you're an optometry student, you want to belong to OptoGlobe, go to the chat and check the link, and you can become an OptoGlobe member. So without wasting much time, I would like to bring on board our next speaker for today. So let's all welcome our next speaker for today is Dr. CHIMEZIRI Anderson. He is the president of the Nigerian Optometric Association. He's a premium optometrist. He holds a master's degree in public health, amongst others, and he is a fellow of the students of the Nigerian College of Optometrists, the American Academy of Optometry, and the Nigerian Optometric Association. Dr. Anderson, sir, you're welcome. You're welcome. The mic is yours. Please, can you join us? The mic is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Josephine. And thank you very much, Dr. Levi, for that presentation. You took a lot of things out of me because I was just nodding my head when he was touching on the areas that I've been yearning to bring to us. We cannot. I want to thank Voj for this support and Pemije for giving me this honor to interact with the students. This has been my passion, to see that we begin to grow from the grassroots. Just like Dr. Levi said, you can overcome whatever challenge you have if you are determined to do it. Before I'm going to incline my speech basically on the political aspect and the financial economic aspects, because I discovered that we have close to 20 professors of optometry in Nigeria, but not even one of them can afford a very comfortable car. That is driving a very comfortable car. That shows that we have done a lot in the area of academics, but in the area of advocacy, economy, and politics, we are far, far below. And what makes every profession excel today is their political wing. Because no matter what you read, no matter what you study, if you are not properly positioned, it becomes a mockery or a shadow of yourself. So we need to start thinking about this right from the time of our student level, because that is what is bereaved our curriculum, that most of us come out, we become disillusioned. We don't even know where to head on to, except you will now go into academics, become this, have PhD, have professor. But at the end of it, what does it turn to? And if you have a professorship, if you cannot back it up with financial ability, you become frustrated. So that is where I want to really challenge us today. Having a global optometrist community is the best thing that can ever happen to us, so that we can begin to look at how the Americans, how the Europeans, how the Australians are able to do it and able to get to where they are today. I believe this body is going to benefit Africans, we Africans, more because we are going to have a cross-cultural understanding and be able to be challenged in how to move our situation forward. myself had this understanding right from the beginning. I stepped into the Abia State University where I graduated from in 1992. And as soon as I stepped in, I became politically involved. In my second year as a student, I became the student union treasurer. I became the student union treasurer. And in that capacity, was able to get in touch with the management of the university. As a student, during my position as a treasurer, I looked at our department of optometry. It was like a dilapidated area. I used my position, started immediately, got connection with the Department of Works, and were able to renovate all the air conditioners, fixed all the lights, repainted the entire department. And everybody from other departments were coming and saying, what is happening in optometry? What is going on? As if the university loves optometry more than. And that alone attracted attention to the optometry department. We went on again and we set up what we call the student library. And the student library was set, that was in my fourth year. Because in my third year after I became the treasurer, in third year, I contested for student union president and the election was annulled. And then in my fourth year, I became the NOSA president. And because of all the connections and the PR I've gathered while in the student union, I was able to transfer that into a very useful benefit to the department. So as NOSA president, we set up a student library where we're getting journals from international organizations. We set up a computer and ICT center. We bought our own computer. We bought our own team. We had a generator. Student body NOSA had to employ a staff that was working for us. We had an office. And then we renovated our J5 that used to go for outreach programs. It was moribund. But as student body, we were able to renovate it and painted it, and it was able to move around. And during the NOSA week, I also caught this idea of, having a unified body. I reached out to my colleagues in University of Benin. That was then Tubonimi was the president. Godwin Ovenseri and Leki Oketete were all members of the executives. And we brought them to our NOSA week, and they spent 4 days in Absu, and we hosted them. We had inter-student match. We had cross-fertilization. That's why among our contemporaries, we bond so much together because we knew each other right from the beginning. And I knew this idea of politics that in the NOSA week, we had to step into the government. At a point, there were the cream de la cream of what matters in the state government were in our NOSA week. The Vice Chancellor himself, the Deputy Vice Chancellor himself, the Registrar, two commissioners of health from the 2 neighboring states, and everybody, MDs of companies and factories were there. No wonder our graduates in that year, that state that graduated, Professor Bernardine Ebeyong, none of them had any difficulty with employment because as they were coming out, they were just being picked. Right in the school, in the final years, 70% of them had already gotten placement before they left school. So political inclination is very, very important for any profession, for any association to survive. So let's move to the next slide, and then we go to the topic. So what is the danger that we have and why we need to have this unification? The danger we have, number one, is curriculum disparity. The curriculum disparity across nations has become a bane in optometry profession. Because you get to some places, it's 3 years program, you get to some places, it's 4 years program, you get to some places, it's 6 years program, you get to some places, it's Doctor of Optometry, BS in Optometry, Diploma in Optometry. So it makes a confusion for diplomacy and for political advocacy. Because you go to a legislative house to present a memo or a bill, somebody will come from nowhere and say, oh, in Uganda, this is how they're doing it. It's not like what you're presenting. In Tanzania, they don't even it's not even a BSc program. In this place, it's just an optician's program. So you get a lot of confusion, So this body is a movement, which I believe is going to help us to be able to unify optometry program. In fact, in some countries, optometry is not even a profession. It's not even a healthcare profession. It's a trade. And you can ask of that in some European countries. Even though some of them are doing well with it, but we need this unification. And we cannot achieve that except we start from the cradle, which is at the student level. So the student becomes the militant wing, the advocacy wing that will be able to advocate for unification of this. I did that myself. Today in Nigeria, we are writing what we call the board exam. And why did the board exam come forth? Is because in the various training institutions, there are different curriculums. The curriculum in Benin, University of Benin, was different from the curriculum in Abia State University, different from Imo State University. Everybody was doing what he feels very okay. And then students were coming out, and it created a lot of dichotomy. If you now go to a clinic and the director of the clinic is a Benin person, he wants only people from Benin. If the person is from Abia State University, he wants people from Abia State University. So there was a huge gap being created. Instead of unifying ourselves, we're being divided along alma mater and the University of Training. So I said, no, what do? We have to bring a unified exam, because when you're going to write a unified board exam, it means every university will have to follow that uniform curriculum. Because if you don't follow that curriculum and do your own, you fail the board exam. And when I mentioned that idea before, it was like hell broke loose. I can still mention individuals who went on the social media castigating me and saying all manner of things, that after they suffered 6 years, I still want to come and produce. I was nobody then. I was just like Pemije, bringing an idea that I feel that will help the situation. I kept on forging ahead. When the last registrar, Professor Sodike, was the registrar, and luckily for me, I became the president of Association of Optometrists in Public Healthcare in Nigeria, I sold this idea to her. I said, this is the only way we can unify the programs and the curriculum in our various universities. And she bought the idea and summoned a stakeholders meeting, and it was carried. And today in Nigeria, there is board exam. And that board exam is now making every of the universities to follow a particular model, to follow the curriculum. And because if you teach a different thing, they go to board exam, your students will fail. So you see how a movement, how your own individual idea can change the shape of the environment, the shape of the profession. So you don't need to be deterred if you know that what you are doing is objective. Because they said in the secular world that when the purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. But if you know the purpose of where you are, you will be focused. You will know where you want to be. As I am now, I know where I want to be from where I am. And God giving me the strength and the grace, I will reach there. So the other aspect of it we have as a danger is the incident optometrist. There are many people in the profession of optometry today who, ab initio, it was not their vision, it was not their idea. They came in because they couldn't make it in medicine, or they couldn't make it in pharmacy, and then they were asked to join optometry, especially in some schools where the optometry department is weak, it's struggling. So you see people coming in from different dropouts, come from every area and come in. So they don't have the original vision of a profession. Some have been able to convert, and begin to embrace the profession, while some are still having that secondary opinion, that secondary idea. This is not originally what I wanted to become. And that has been a very big problem. And the only way we can overcome that is to strengthen our program, is to market our program. Because when the demand is high, when the demand is high, of course, that will be you'll be able to set a high standard, set a high cutoff mark. So that is what we can do. When you do that, you will now begin to get original people who had intention of reading optometry or studying optometry, if I may say. Now, that can also happen the way we market the profession. Because I have discovered that we are doing a lot of in-house marketing, in-house advocacy. Now, if you mention all the organizations we can talk about, thanks for Dr. Levi and his team. If you mention everything you can talk about, everything is just within optometry. What do we have in place for the outside community? How are we reaching the outside community? How are we advocating in the outside community? Some of you are students of optometry, but your parents and your siblings, nobody don't even know what optometry is all about. You just use the name doctor and cover yourself. Oh, he's a doctor. But you're not making any effort to educate them, to make people understand what your profession is all about. And then optometry becomes a remote profession. I used to call it neglected tropical profession. And when it becomes a remote profession, it's not valued. Then all your efforts will be. That's why we have internal fightings, internal bickerings, because when you are on the lower cadre, you have a lot of struggle. But the moment you were able to, fly off and go to the sky, then you have a lot of space to express yourself. So this is another area, the danger I see in the profession of optometry, which we at the student level begin to address. So our politics, our our advocacy should not be limited in intra optometry community. It should be targeted to the outside community. How many governors are you able to bring to your NOSA program? How many senators are you able to bring to your NOSA programs? You have the potentials. Some of you, their parents, your uncles are in these positions. How have you been able to use that position to market the profession? That is a challenge that we need to have, and when we're talking about globalization. So political mentorship becomes very, very important for anyone, for optometry to really strive and to go forward. Political mentorship. So I want to see a situation where we are forming groups. We're also having political mentorship groups, advocacy groups that will be in the front line, advocating and pushing the frontiers of this profession beyond the optometry. And that is what the Nigerian Medical Association is doing. They have more than 50 committees that are centered on various aspects of the community, even a committee on engineering. And this is area we need to have put on our thinking caps and do something much more better. Then another area we need political mentorship is in the area of splinter groups. You see an optometry profession, sometimes you go to a place, we have only about 3,000 optometrists, but they have more than 20 groups. Now, when we fractionalize into different groups, left and right, we cannot work, harmoniously. But what we need is technical groups, not independent bodies. As a student body, we have the NOSA body, but before you know it, this one is opening his own, this one is opening his own, the other one is opening another one, and we keep on breaking into small pieces and fractionalizing ourselves into small groups. That doesn't help for unification, that doesn't help for growth. When you work together as a team, you achieve more. So that is another thing we need to get into understanding. Having technical groups instead of political groups, leveraging on existing structures. Thank God, Vouch is partnering with us in this program. There are many existing programs. Why are you creating new ones when the existing ones are not even doing well? The ability to energize an existing program is what is the energy, not to create a brand new one, because whatever made those ones to fail, you will still encounter those challenges. And that's the principle that I have. When I came on board, we started a group of optometrists in public healthcare to be able to advocate. And in that position, we have done a lot. But I've made sure that the body that I am in charge of is fully subjugated to the Nigerian Optometric Association, fully allegiant, fully loyal to it, so that we can work as a team, we can work as one single body. So this is a challenge to the students. As you're coming up, begin to think of how to strengthen the existing bodies through the energy that you have. And if you're creating technical groups, fine and good, but make sure that they are harmonized with the existing structure. Let's have what we call horizontal integration instead of vertical integration instead of horizontal integration. In horizontal integration, we'll break into fractions and we may not be able to achieve much. Every little group will achieve a little. But in a vertical integration, the sky becomes our limit. So the next slide. So technical groups becomes very, very important as part of the areas we need to have. Then when we now talk about globalization, I think one of the best opportunities we have is to have WCO student wing. Yes, Dr. Levi has mentioned about AFCO student wing. That's a very good idea. That's why I said he took some things off me. So WCO student wing is another opportunity. It's a very, where this global student globe can focus on. We need to, from AFCO to WCO, because we need to have a say in the global body that talks about, that decides on the future of the profession. So after this meeting, I would like the organizers to begin to think in that way of having a student wing under the WCO. The next slide. Don't have much time. Then survival of the fittest. Now we have scope disparity. The benefits of this global community is to address this issue of scope disparity, just like I mentioned about curriculum disparity. Scope disparity is also very, very important. So this global community will be able to see how we can, harmonize our scope. WCO has done a lot in that area, but it's still left, some areas are still need to be touched. so that whatever you are as an optometrist is what you are in the United States, is what you are in the Canada, is what you are in the, so there should be what we call technical exchange, knowledge exchange. So I would like this global community will graduate into technical exchange, where some students can move from maybe from Ghana, they can go to Canada for externship, and then from Canada, they can come to Nigeria for externship. So there will be a cross-fertilization of ideas and the unification of programs. In fact, if we do well, we don't even need board exams, we don't need licensing exams in any country to practice. There should be a way where if we can move from one country to the other and practice optometry without any hassles, because the programs are fully unified, lecturers are fully unified, and the curriculum is the same. So that is what this importance of having this body will do. And I believe in the future, we're going to achieve more in this field. The next slide. Way forward. So the way forward here is one international board exam. In line with what I have said, there's need to have an international board exam on an international body that could unify our programs. Nigeria, at the level of Nigerian Optometric Association, we are doing a lot in that aspect. We're working a lot. We're trying to reach out to University of Waterloo in Canada. The Nigerian Postgraduate College of Optometry was able to reach out to Sony Optometry in the United States. And we're trying to reach out to so many other training institutions and regulatory bodies, to see how we can come together and harmonize our programs in such a way that we can have an international exam, just like you have the IGMB, International Joint Matriculation Board. So once you write IGMB, you can study in any of the country. So we need to have such a program in such a way that once you pass that exam, you'll be able to practice in any part of the country where you feel like, and that will also elevate the profession and make the profession to be more relevant to our various communities. So international board exam is one of the advantages that this body can bring to the board, and it will help to elevate this profession. The next slide, please. Sorry, I have only 20 minutes, so I'm just trying to rush. Okay. So the importance of this global optometry community, like we have mentioned, the student WCO student wing, having a technical groups instead of splinter groups, and political inclinations in policy making. I still want to go back to that political inclination and policy making because it's very, very important to me. It's what gives us the financial muscle. It's where people sit down to make the regulation that governs me and you. No matter the knowledge we have, despite all the PhDs and the professional degrees that we have, what determines the life of your profession is the regulation that is being made. And there are people that sit down on the table to decide the fate of every profession. And that's why we should be looking at this right from the grassroots, right from the student level. And we should be looking into this area to see how we can change the narrative. I want to congratulate the Ghana Optometric Association for what they have done. If you look at their scheme of service, you will say, wow, this is wonderful. They borrowed a leaf from Nigeria's scheme of service and went further to develop it into what it is today. I saw it and I was very happy, and they're pushing forward. In Nigeria, we're also pushing forward, beyond the regulatory board into having a council where we can be able to regulate optical programs. So in that aspect, that is what is important, so that we need to begin to have this political inclination right from the student level. Get yourself involved in the student union, get yourself involved in the association, get yourself involved in political groups. Yes, going into research is very good. But if all of us become fellows of American Academy and we don't have anything to show for it, it's a mockery. Yes, becoming a PhD is good, but if you become a PhD and you cannot have anything to show for it, it becomes a mockery. Your clinic should be standard. You should be able to afford to have the basic equipment in your clinic. So please, that is where I believe that this student body should look into seriously and be able to grow political giants, grow economic giants, as optometrists. And I believe if that is done, the narrative about optometry will change in a lesser time than you can ever imagine it. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll be ready to take your questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Anderson. It was really I learned a lot. Thank you very much for this session. So we'll be taking questions. So please drop your questions in the Q&A session, or you can raise your hand and then I'll attend to your question. So please, let's have your question. Let's have your questions, please. Okay, sir. So before any other question comes in, there's something I want to ask. So you made mention of politics and school. I mean, the optometry school is a very stressful one, and then trying to merge the two, academics and politics. I don't know how can elaborate on that so that the students will know how to manage our time and will know how to do these things so that we don't end up in politics and then we move out of optometry school. So I know you understand because it can be tough sometimes in optometry school. So I need your advice on this. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. To answer that, a lot of us have been able to combine academic work with our religious studies, religious practices. I know some of us, even as students, they are pastors. They combine all their prayers, fellowship, and they still make it top grade in the university. A lot of us have been able to combine our academic activities with our social life. You know, just like Dr. Levi was talking about soft skills. Some have combined. You know, I have a relative, my niece. She studied 2 courses at the same time. She did petrochemical engineering, and she also did one other course, IT, together in 2 different universities, and she did the 2 at the same time and came out with it. So if it's not that everybody must jump into politics, but if you have that inclination, if you have that in you, don't suppress it. I did it, and I came top grade. I had a very comfortable 2-1. In fact, I had almost a 0.4 pointer. You know, so it's possible if you can combine it with, if you can combine with your fellowship, if you can combine with your religious activities, if you're able to combine with your extracurricular activities. You know, you go to town, you do parties, you do. Then I mean, combining with politics shouldn't be a very big burden, because politics is not all about meetings. It's about, we are all political animals. It's about taking it to the next level and making yourself seen. You know, being loud, making yourself available for service. So politics is not a dirty game as we look at it, but it's the ability to advocate for the profession. Advocate. I want to give you an example for with the question you asked me, that I was a casualty of that anyway, but it's worked out anyway. So when one of the occasion, being the NOSA president, in my final year, Dr. Levi took over from me because we had an election and it was annulled, and then he became member of the transition committee. I was called up in the morning. That was the morning of Viva. And we had to take our Viva in final year. And I was called up by the HOD, Professor Iyukunne, of blessed memory. He said I had to be in Benin that morning to invite Professor Q for external examination. And because of that, I was scheduled to be the first person to enter into the exam hall for Viva. And imagine what it means. I was so destabilized. I was so confused. So when I entered into the exam hall, they were asking me questions. I was just looking at them because, you know, I'm the kind of person that like to prepare, review all that I've done, you know, before I will face an exam, you know. And when at a point, the lecturer said, Anderson, could you please leave this place? You're not prepared for this exam. You know, I knew why. It was because my mind was on how to get to Benin, because the next day was supposed to be our thesis defense. So I was to go to Benin and get Professor Q. So I ignored everything. I left. I went to Benin. I met Professor Q. We arranged everything. I came back. So it happens that Viva was very terrible. More than 70% of the students did not even make it. You know, so because of that, they now scheduled a mock Viva. And when I came, I cleared all the questions and finished everything, and I still graduated. So it can actually affect you somehow or the other. But if you are sincere and whatever you're doing is for the good of the profession and for the people, you will never be a casualty. You will never be a casualty. You will find a way to balance the two. I had to devise ways to survive. I read. Then I was also working for the board. I was the Eastern rep of the ODRBN, the registration board. under Dr. Ronald Ibe. I read in the buses in the night. When I enter a luxurious bus from Owerri to Lagos, I'll put my small twin light, and that's how I read. Naturally, if I'm at home, I can't read, but in the bus, because of then there was night buses, because of the movement of the bus, you will not feel asleep. Then I read. Sometimes I read all through from that 8 o'clock till in the morning. And when I come back, one of the occasions I had to enter an exam from Lagos. I just came in from Lagos. It was Dr. Hama's exam. I stepped in, and within 1 hour, I finished that exam. I came out, and I scored a B in that course. Even the lecturer was asking me, "Sir, are you sure you did this?" I said, "No, sir," because I was reading all through the night in the bus. And when I came, I just entered, and all that I read was what appeared in the question paper, and I just answered and left the place. So it's possible to combine. It's possible to do that. Once you are determined that you are going to do it, you want to make a change, nothing is impossible for you. You'll be able to navigate and find a way to get through without much stress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You read in buses. I consider that an inspiration. Okay, I'm inspired by that. Okay, so we have other questions. Now I'll read them out. Okay, so the first one says, is there a platform where we can join to support the political effort to push optometry forward? That's the first question.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I've not thought about that, but I think that is Dr. Levi is here. Most of us are here. Pamija is here. It's an area we need to exploit. We need to have a program. We need to have a group that is purely dedicated to advocacy and politics. You know, devoid. Yes, academic is good, but we sit down as a think tank and be thinking of the prospects of this profession and how to penetrate every area in the political space. I think that is another thing that we can achieve from the student angle and from the professional body angle. We are doing that as Nigerian Optometric Association. We are setting up a group, a political think tank, you know, that we can even at a point sponsor you into political positions where you can be there to represent the interests of the association. And the student body should do it. Sponsor people into the student union body. Sponsor your members into various political groups and be able to begin to fight and advocate from all fronts. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Doctor. So we'll be calling on Mr. Musa. Mr. Musa, you raised your hand, so please, can you ask your question, please? Mr. Musa Monday, please, can you ask your question?
I think he dropped from the call. Dr. Levy wants to ask a question as well.
Okay, Doctor, let's have your question.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I think I want to kind of contribute to what Anderson had just said about the advocacy for people in the political side who are willing to go through that. I think I did share this with Vosh the last time we met. There's a need for us to do some sort of leadership trainings for students, because you don't just go into politics without understanding what leadership is. I do think I was part of the Optical Society of America as a student chapter president in QUT. And what it did was, at each of the annual meetings, which held in Seattle at the time, the first day of that meeting is a student leadership conference. At that leadership conference, they select some of us. We visited the Pentagon. They took us to Washington in a bus, and we went to the centers to talk to politicians. As student leaders, we had the opportunity to meet people like Senator Marco Rubio in his office. We talked about OSA. That's why OSA is it's a powerful body. They're everywhere in NASA because of that advocacy. So what Anderson is saying is a very targeted idea. But we need to look at those students who we can train as leaders. You know, we went to that leadership course, and we had one-day conference before the actual OSA conference happens. All students from different parts of the world come together. They sponsor 2 students each year. And I saw that idea to Vosh as well. That's something we can start looking at with OptoGlobe. Is it possible that maybe in the academy conference, the first day of the academy is a student leadership conference? So people are trained to be leaders. So they are well positioned that when these opportunities come up to take these political positions, they are already there. They're thinking like leaders. They have that leadership skill set. We want to raise leaders who can be in a political position and make positive changes, not leaders who are going to go there to learn how to be leaders. That's a different thing. So I think we have to start thinking about that way as well. Students, how can we form this body where even if it's once a year, there's a leadership conference that's been organized, we can look for grants from different bodies and make students come to a particular place to decide to think about leadership. That's another thing I think we can also start thinking about as a group.
Thank you very much. That's very good. That's very good.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll go to the other questions. So the next question says, how does the scope of practice differ between countries in Africa and in Australia? So that's the other questions.
Yeah, I think I know that of Africa, but I don't know that of Australia. Dr. Levi is here. He will answer that. But just to throw a shade on that is, in Africa itself, the scope varies so much. There's so much disparity. AFCO has been working hard to harmonize. Like I said, in Africa, in some places like Tanzania, they have diploma. In places like Kenya, you have BSc. In Ghana, Nigeria, you have OD, Doctor of Optometry. And these have their own various level of scope of practice. The UK is there; they're doing therapeutic optometry. In America, is very advanced. They have gone into surgery, surgical skills. I'm happy when I saw in the academy. In the academy this year, there is what they call skill transfer. Laser skill transfer, minor surgical skills transfer. I was so elated, You see that you pay for it, it's $1,000 and you benefit from the training. So that's how far the United States of America has gone. So in Africa, there are some places that are very struggling places. I have a friend of mine, we studied together in University of Cape Town where I did my MPH. He's the one that handles laser surgery for diabetic retinopathy. He was trained by I think it's Vorge or in the UK, and he's the one that does the surgery. He does the laser surgery, even though he had a BSc in optometry and I think a diploma in optometry. So the nomenclature may be there, but the scope can be harmonized. The scope is what you are permitted to do, and that has to do with the law of the land. The legislation governing the profession in that particular country, in that particular nation. So if the legislation does not allow you to do certain things, you cannot do them. Even if you know it, you will not be able to practice it. So unifying the program helps to bring everybody on the same level so that we advance together. In America can do laser surgery, but you cannot do that in Cameroon. You cannot do that in another place. So that's where this advocacy comes. But I think Dr. Levi would know what the scope is like in the Australia, but that's not what we are talking about. What I'm saying that how we can unify this program so that the scope of practice will be the same, will be at the same optimal level, and that is how it will help for advocacy in every country. Then people, advanced countries like in the United States and Canada can also help the upcoming countries. I know before we started optometry in Abia State University, it took somebody like Professor Mencias from the Philippines who came to start that program. So such exchange programs help to strengthen the program. And while Professor Mencias was there, he was a very great, and because being an expatriate, everything she says, the university, gives into it. So the Americans, the Canadians should be able to volunteer and make the sacrifice, send the resource persons, and some of us who have gone out there because of economic hardship, when some of us go there to acquire knowledge, we don't come back. We go to Australia, we stay there, we don't come back. Thank God for people like Dr. Levi, who is trying to bring in or, put him back, his expertise back to his home country, the things he's doing in Nigeria, in AFCO. But some have gone away and they don't care about what happens in the weaker countries, the developing programs. So we should be able to do something for the students at the student level, so that when you go out there to do your master's and PhD, you still have the morale to come back, and put into practice those things that you have learned to strengthen the developing programs. And I think that's what we need to also explore.
Yeah. So for the Australian side of things here, I think the disparity in the programs are everywhere. In fact, Europe is even wider than Africa in the way optometry is being practiced. In Australia, different schools offer different degrees. The QUT gives you a master's in optometry when you graduate. The school in Dickens gives you a Bachelor of Optometry. The school in Melbourne gives you an OD in optometry. And I think South Australia is doing the same OD program as well. Now, these are very different. But the good thing about this is they have a harmonized curriculum. Despite the courses they do, they all practice at the same level. They've been able to maintain that there's always a pool as who is the OD and who is not, but they are treated as the same. When they go for employment, they're the same. There are subtle divisions that you see as well. But again, there's no discrepancy of who gets employed and who doesn't. It was there in the past, but I think now, because they now do therapeutics, after you finish these courses, you either do a therapeutic exam or you include therapeutics as part of your course in your undergrad. Then you're able to prescribe those over-the-counter medications. So it's everywhere. And I guess that for Africa is because we're still new. I mean, different schools are just starting in Africa. New schools are coming up now. And the resources and facilities are a big challenge as well, which is why companies like Vosh and other institutions are here to work with us. So I do see that discrepancy in Africa being a big challenge. But again, let's not forget that it exists in other places as well. And it's a global challenge that we all have to tackle together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So we have two persons raising their hand. We have Maria Alexandra. Please, can you ask your question, please? Can you ask your question?
Hola, ¿qué tal con todos? Buenos días. Voy a hablar en español. Espero que me puedan entender. Tengo dos preguntas. La primera, ¿cómo podría yo ayudar a que social y políticamente muchas localidades abandonadas en mi país, al menos en Perú, no saben o no tienen idea de lo que es una atención optómetra? Y lamentablemente en Perú no hay una regularización. Yo quisiera hacer que llegara más personas, pero lamentablemente a veces me siento sola, pues no encuentro muchos estudiantes que compartan mi misma idea o que compartan mi misma afición de querer que esto llegue esta ayuda a estas personas, ¿no? Porque quedan ciegas a temprana edad cuando esto se podría solucionar si es que supieran la información correcta a la edad correcta, los padres, todos supieran, eso se podría, pero no sé cómo hacerlo. A veces me siento muy sola, por eso creo que entré aquí y me siento como que hay más personas que también quisieran hacer esto a nivel mundial. Y lo segundo es, ¿cómo se llama? Bueno, ¿cómo podría uno crear una ONG? A mí mi idea es a veces hacer una ONG para hacer campañas visuales, pero tampoco no sé muy bien cómo hacerlo, ¿no? Entonces, me gustaría bastante si es que podría haber algún tipo de intercambio, porque creo que ustedes en África, Australia, han hecho muchas cosas que a mí también me gustaría que hubieran estudiantes como ustedes y profesionales como ustedes que apoyen esas ideas.
Hello, this is Maria. I'm going to translate for the questions.
All right.
Yeah, is that okay? Okay. So
yes,
the colleague Maria Alejandra is from Peru. And basically the first question was about her concern about vulnerable communities not accessing the eye health care services needed. And she was wondering how to get a movement for, with other colleagues that could help bring these services to the communities. The other one was about, her question was very specific about how to create an NGO to do these clinics and these exchanges with, she was very surprised and excited about the exchange that seems to take place in Africa and Australia, and how to motivate the students to support these clinics for people underserved in her country.
Okay, I think Vosh would have answered that.
Yes, but perhaps you want to answer first your thoughts, and I can complement after.
Yeah, like I said, it was the same scenario in Nigeria, where I come from. We had that problem. The foremost optometrist who started optometry was a physicist. He studied physics, and then he now traveled to the United States and did OD program, and then came back and introduced the optometry program at the University of Benin. It was not easy initially, but he scaled through under the Department of Physics. And today, the optometry program is under the Faculty of Life Sciences. And the program in Abia State University started the same way, but it was then Imo State University, where during the WCO exchange program, Professor Mencias from the Philippines was deployed. I think it's either the technical aid program or something, and then he came over to start the program in 1981 or 80 something, and he ran the program for 10 years before he left. He left a year after I stepped in, so that's about 10 years plus. So that can be done. That's why I say virtual answer you, because the NGO programs, the international donor agencies, the WCO need to sit on this and revisit that program, because that program was very helpful, and see how we can exchange of experts, to help the developing programs, and make it strong, because the countries will not be able to afford to pay for enough lecturers and qualified lecturers. But if the international donor agencies can come in, we can have these quality lecturers to raise the standard, and then of course be able to achieve that. That's the much I will be contributing there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. I will answer as Bosch, because we understand quite a lot of the context in Peru. In Peru, we have two chapters, school chapters, which are very active, one at the University Nacional Federico Villarreal, and the other one at the Instituto Eurohispano. Both of them are quite active, offering, especially the Eurohispano, offering services to vulnerable communities. Of course, they cannot cover the whole country with their support. The other challenge that is present in Peru and in many other Latin American countries is the recognition of the profession as such, and the scope of practice for the profession. Plus, in Peru, perhaps I might say the atomization of the representation of the optometry, organized optometry, something that Dr. Anderson referred to. If we are going to advance in this field, we need to work together. And sometimes just creating parallel organizations doesn't really help. So I think I will say to Maria Alejandra, from my understanding and my experience working with my Peruvian colleagues under Bosch, it is ask support, something that Dr. LEVI also has said. Sometimes we don't ask the people who are in our countries, and we need to start finding out who is doing what, and start really pursuing these people with questions and try to contact. I think it's very valuable that Maria Alejandra has joined these sessions, because that shows her interest, and we will be happy to connect her with our colleagues in Peru, because there is a lot of work going on. I mean, in July, there is the University of Ohio is working with the Instituto Eurohispano in a clinic in Peru. So there is that work is regular. And I think people like Maria Alejandra needs to just get connected to them, and we can play a role doing that. So as a word of advice, I would say, don't think you are alone. Research who is doing what, which organizations are active. Rotarians are active. The Rotary Club is active everywhere. The Lions Clubs are active everywhere. We work in partnership with them as well in different countries. So there is no need to establish different NGOs, different things, different bodies. We actually need to just start trying to connect with each other, and that will make these concerns much more easily solvable. That will be my answer, and I hope, María Alejandra, te voy a escribir por el chat para si no has entendido lo que te he dicho, pero es básicamente te lo escribo para que no tomemos mucho tiempo. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Maria. Okay, so the next question is, sir, please, talking about growing optometry and bringing it to limelight, we would need mentorship and guidance from alumni of optometry school. But somehow, the alumni is disconnected from the student body, especially here in my school, leaving students to navigate their way through on their own. Meanwhile, all these bodies we want to emulate are gaining groups more because of the people who ventured into the growth of students. Okay, into the growth of students. Is there a guide on how to reach out to alumni to build a body and invest in the student's body? So that's the question. That's the question.
Thank you very much. I would rather say it's the person that needs the doctor that goes to the hospital. If you're sick, you don't sit in your home. You reach out to the hospital and you get the care. The student body needs to be proactive. That's why I mentioned that we do a lot of advocacy in our communities, in optometry and not outside optometry. So we need to be reaching out to the outer space. Our politics is not just within us to have NOSA president. We need to be reaching out to the outer space. And that means every student body need to reach out. When I came on board as the president of NOA, I asked, what are we doing for the students? What is happening? The only time they invite is when they have NOSA week, they invite the president to come. I said, no, NOSA need to be an affiliate of NOA. They need to have a say. And what I'm moving now is to have NOSA to have a permanent chair in the executive of the Nigerian Optometric Association, because this is the youth body. This is the student body. Whatever decision we are making is for your future. What we do today is what is going to affect you tomorrow. So you need to be in the know and also make your air your view on the future, determining the future by yourself. And NOSA has written an application. It will be granted by God's grace. And then we'll have to bring in the NOSA National, as part and parcel of the NOA, so that every meetings, every program, they are represented, they are called to the high table, they are partakers in the decision making. And that's what I would like every professional association to do, because the earlier we start bringing the student body closer and making them to understand where we are going to, then the better for us. Otherwise, they will have their own different vision, which may be parallel to what will help the association or the profession to grow. So that question is very, very important. But my answer is that you should reach out. You don't sit and wait for the national body to reach out to you. You reach out to them and tell them you are here. Oh, we are here. So they will need to accommodate you. They will need to bring you in, and then begin to begin to be part of the policy making decision body of every professional association. So if, as we are going in this way, like I said, at AFCO, at WCO, by the time we begin to have a very strong student wing, I believe all the other national associations will also begin to look into the area of having a strong student wing. And when that happens, you begin to have a good idea of where you are going to from where you are. Like our journals, we need to start having publications by students. Unfortunately, most of our thesis works are mere academic exercise. But I'm happy today, especially from the University of Benin, I'm getting topics and I'm getting research questions, to the association, that we have started thinking of having the NOA Research and Ethics Committee, which is headed by Professor Epeyon. Last week, Wednesday, I was with the permanent secretary at the Federal Ministry of Health, and we asked for the Research and Ethics approval, and they told us that anytime we have any research program or research topic that has to do with a nationwide study, that we are free to apply for ethics review and ethics approval, and they will gradually grant it. So it makes sense. And when that happens, that means some of these students' researches can be published, in the journals. We have the Journal of Nigerian Optometric Association, we have other journals. They can be published. So these researches are not to be mere academic exercise. And I want to tell you the truth. That is the point. My own niece is an optometry doctor today. When she was to do her thesis, she brought some of the topics to me. And when I looked at those topics, I couldn't find any one of them very relevant. I told her these topics, I suggested some topics. And when I gave her those topics, she went back to her supervisor. Her supervisor said, no, these ones are too, she cannot do this. This one will involve too much money, that she needs to do something that she can just do and pass. She don't need to. So I felt angry. I said, no. Rather, the lecturer should be the one to encourage the student. And that's why at our level of a Nigerian Optometric Association, we are forming what we call the Nigerian Optometric Association Foundations. It's going to be a body that is going to be dedicated to sponsoring research and scholarships. So that if you bring a good topic, a good research topic, the body can provide the finances to sponsor it. And when the result is out, we publish it in our journal. These publications are what determine the future practice. Today we are practicing myopia, Trivers, and these are all products of research. So, and you can make money from it as a body, because those researches, when they are commercialized into equipment, into devices, will bring royalty and money and patency right and everything to you. So this is the kind of thinking faculty we need to have, both economically and politically, in otherwise. So I think that the student body needs to reach out to all their professional associations, reach out to them, and make sure you are fully assimilated as a part and parcel of that professional body, and that will make a lot of good for us to start with. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Anderson. There are two other questions in the chat, and Josephine is maybe having network issues, so I'll be filling in for her now. Just these two questions, and every other question will be answered after Dr. MARYAM JABBAR's speech, which should be coming up in a while. One question from Naja Chamaun. Is there a platform? Okay, I think this has been answered. So the last question is from Usaina Ibrahim Balarabi. There is one university in Nigeria that now has an entire faculty for optometry with different departments, from low vision to other specialties. Doesn't that have to do with the scope? Is it going to be the rule for all optometry schools in Nigeria to have their own faculty? Okay, I can see Dr. Levi would love to answer this question, so we could have both contributions from both Dr. Levi and Dr. Anderson, and we'll move on to the third speaker. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's a simple question. That is our target. That is our target in Nigeria for all the optometry programs in the universities to be a faculty. Because now we have the Nigerian Postgraduate College of Optometry with 7 faculties. We have the faculty of Public Health Optometry, Ocular Health Optometry, Pediatric Optometry, Orthoptics, contact lens, cornea and contact lens optometry. We have a primary care optometry and low vision and visual rehabilitation optometry. So it was a very long-term advocacy. I have had that in my mind for a very long time. for us to move from department to a faculty. And God willing, Abia State University has adopted that. And I believe we continue to agitate until all the universities have optometry as a faculty. What it means is that we are now specializing. So as you finish your OD, you need to look for area of specialization, whether in the low vision, in ocular. In fact, we're changing, I'm advocating for change of name, like ocular health optometry should become medical optometry, Then we have cornea and contact lenses, contact lens and refractive optometry. So as the names are changes, it brings to the fore the real specialization in those disciplines. So that's what we hope will be the future advocacy for optometry in Nigeria, where all the universities, in fact, we want to make it as for the board that if any program needs to start new, it has to start on the basis of a faculty and not the department. So by God willing, we achieve that. And I wish all the other countries, nations to adopt that, because that's expansion, that's growth, that's development for optometry.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Dr. Levi, I don't know if you have any few contributions to make. Martin Lukwata and Rufai Iliasu, I see your hands. And after Dr. Maryam Jabbar's presentation, would allow you ask your questions. So Dr. Levi, you can go on, sir.
Yeah, so Pamija, I think it's not about the faculty position. I'm aware that Abia State University is moving towards that because they reached out to CEFI to help harmonize, create curriculum, decide, give them ideas on what to do. So that's a different thing. I think my other confusion is on the area of having students to reach out to organizations. I know I like this discourse because this is how we learn. It's important that we listen to what's happening elsewhere. Students have always reached out in the past. It's not working. So that process of students reaching out doesn't work. We've done it ever since. We cannot be doing the same thing and expect the same result, different result. We've reached out. There are so many academics the way we are trained in Africa, you can't even question your lecturers. Sometimes you're afraid of asking them to help you. So that dichotomy is always there. The students are afraid to reach out. The reason the American Academy of Optometry African chapter started by getting people on board and mentoring them. The same language I hear when you want to help people. Say, no, they can go to the website. It's all there, Levi. Why are you telling them what to do? They can go and read it up. It's all there. Awareness is a big thing. So let's not underestimate that impact, that blockage, that barrier to link them up to the next person is a big stumbling block. There are so many people I reached out to so they can help in guiding students, candidates to fellowship. They told me blunt out no. I mean, these are people you think they will also be willing to help to guide people. People like Anderson are willing to help you at any time. There are so many people who do not want you to get there, not just for any personal reason. So I think the association can play a role there. You don't need students to reach out. What if you have an alumni forum? In my school, as the head of research, I reach out to the alumni myself. I send an email. Do you want to be involved in supervision of research? They say yes. I link them to a student. Okay, this person's specialty is on public health. They will help you in this project. They come supervise because when they leave the school, even the alumni themselves, their mental health status is very poor because they've known academic all their life. Once they leave that place, they become irrelevant. People who write every time, who read every time, suddenly they don't do that anymore. Their mental well-being drops. So we are engaging them back into academia. In a part-time level, can they just maybe be co-joins to the school, be co-joins to the association? Then in that sense, they have a direct mentorship to students. They are willing to work with students. It's very difficult to get to say, reach out to the academics, reach out to them as a student body. It's never worked. And if we keep doing the same thing, we don't get this anywhere. So I want us to have that mindset that we need to be the one to empower these young people. I know we want to make them do things themselves. The condition that we are trained in Africa doesn't give you that liberty to do it. I mean, unfortunately, that's the truth about things here. So I think we have to start thinking, well, how then do we facilitate that reach? Can we give them a hand to reach out to who they want to reach out? Then we can say, okay, now I've connected you guys. Can you guys work together? I think that's the mentality I want us to change today.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for that input. So we'll be moving on to the next speaker, Dr. Maryam Jabbar. Every question will be answered after Dr. Maryam Jabbar's presentation. Hers is just for 7 minutes. So we'll be moving on to her. Josephine, just before then, can you please go ahead with her bio?
Okay, so we are welcoming on board right now Dr. MARYAM JABBAR, optometrist and lecturer, Optometry Department, the University of FAISALABAD, Pakistan. Dr. MARYAM JABBAR has been serving as a lecturer in the Optometry Department at the University of FAISALABAD since 2021. She holds a Doctor of Optometry degree from the same university earned in 2021 and has completed her MPhil in optometry awarded with bronze medal in 2023. She has an impressive academic record with 17 original research papers, 11 of which are recognized by the Higher Education Commission, HEC, in the Y category journals. Dr. MARYAM has actively presented her research at 12 conferences, including 5 international and 7 national conferences, showcasing her dedication to advancing knowledge in optometry and allied health sciences. In 2021, Dr. MARYAM participated in a talk show during the International Virtual Student Exchange program with TITES, Budi, Lahu, Simahi, and Bin for Edu, Indonesia. She was awarded a global medal for the first presenter at the first international conference of the Rehabilitation and Allied Health Sciences. In her current role, Dr. MARYAM supervises research groups contributing to the academic growth of her students. Her dedication earned her a letter of appreciation for her research contributions in 2022, signed by Prof. Emeritus and tenured Dr. Mohammad Khalik O. Rahman, and organized by ORIC at TUF. She also showcased her innovative prototype, M-Site, at the C Pakistan World Startup Championship 2023. Currently, Dr. MARYAM is working on several projects, including the Musafar Tech Cane for blind people, T3 tonic for managing blepharitis, and JZ Optics for frame selection. Her achievements reflect her commitment to advancing the field of optometry and research. Welcome, Dr. MARYAM. Welcome you on board. So Dr. MARYAM will not really be presenting herself, but there will be a video that will be shared across. So just watch, take notes, and then she will answer questions. Welcome.
Starting with the name of Allah, who is Rahman and Rahim. Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today. It's a great opportunity for me to present at Global Optometry Student Community organized by OPTOGLO. It's a great initiative to connect the different regions of optometrists at one platform. Topic of my presentation is expanding horizons, career opportunity in optometry. Here's me, MARYAM JABBAR, currently working as a lecturer, Optometry Department, University of FAISALABAD from Pakistan. Topic of starting from what basically optometry is. World Council of Optometry defined as optometry is a healthcare autonomous and regulated registered licensed body. And what are the optometrists? Optometrists are the primary healthcare practitioners of the eye and the visual system who provide comprehensive eye and vision care, which include the refraction, dispensing of the spectacles, detection of the disease, as well as diagnosis and management of the diseases, of ocular diseases, and rehabilitation of the ocular system, visual system is also a part of the optometry subspecialties. And here's the key role. What you can do after the graduation, you can do a comprehensive eye exam, diagnose and treat the ocular conditions, prescribe the spectacles, refractive correction, as well as fitting of the contact lenses, monitor and manage ocular diseases, as well as you can proceed with the pre and post operative care of the patient. And main integral part of all the modalities is basically the education of the patient. You can educate patient about the awareness of the disease, about the common conditions of the eye health. Furthermore, here is the traditional pathway. After the graduation, what you can do, first of all, here is the private clinic. Anyone who is graduated with the optometry degree can proceed his or her own clinic, private clinic, and clinical optometry including the including anyone working in a hospital setting and collaborate with other healthcare professionals. Furthermore, is the retail optometry employment of optometry, optical for the eye care services for the eyewears, and educational roles including the heading the department, schools of optometry at the university level to shape the future of optometry. Furthermore, other than traditional career pathway, what you can proceed is a teleoptometry. Teleoptometry including the providing the eye care services in the remote area through the telecommunication technologies. And when we're talking about the further, is a specialty optometry including the pediatric optometry, geriatric optometry, and contact lens practitioners, rehabilitation of the wheel system, wheel diseases, and another is about the corporate role. Corporate role is about the linkages about the academia and the industry. And further, being optometrists, you can proceed in our research and the academia. Further, to proceed to create a new knowledge, to advance the previous knowledge, we can conduct valuable researches and contribute to the scientific advancement. Is the academia and the corporate role, including the optical companies, consultancy role, and about further pharmaceutical and medical devices companies. You can proceed about the all regarding the optometry and optical instrument strategies that can be enhanced by the knowledge related to optometry. And when we're talking about the public health policy, being optometrists, we can involve in the public health initiatives. We can play a role in health in making the health policies and advocacy, and contribute to the community health program to improve the VN and VN care of the general public. And furthermore, here is the international opportunities. You can explore the international forum for the qualification improvement, as well as to working in the different countries, and you can take part in global health initiative as well. And further future trends in optometry, rather than the currently proceedings of the optometry, being optometrists, what we can do, how we can proceed. Here's the future trends. That's basically the AI based technological advancement, evolving the patient needs according to the requirement, with the advancement of the knowledge by conducting a valuable researches, and prediction for the knowledge for the future is basically the upcoming era is about the AI based, and we can with the help of AI we can enhance the knowledge, previous knowledge. We can make we can use the tools which can help us to early diagnosis, early detection of the disease, and we can proceed with the early detection and the better management for the patient. And here's the conclusion. If we conclude, we could simply proceed. Optometry is a dynamic and a rewarding profession with a numerous pathway, as we talking earlier about the different subspecialties of optometry, pediatric optometry, geriatrics, low vision rehabilitation, contact lens practitioners, and furthermore, what we have to do, we have to be open for the new challenges and experiences. And future of optometry is bright and full of possibilities. Your career in optometry can be a diverse and fulfilling as you choose to make it. Further, here's a home message. Being optometrist, what you should do, you have to explore different career options and find your passion within optometry. There's a different subspecialties. You can proceed either of them with your passion, and network with the professionals, seek mentorship, engage in professional organizations, and you have to stay in touch with the advancement and trends to keep yourself and your practice up to date and the current and innovative. With the updating of your knowledge, you can proceed for the betterment of the patient care. Thank you so much for your listening. That's all from my side. If you have any question, go ahead. And here's my email ID. You can approach me regarding any query. Starting with the name of Allah, who is Rahman and Rahim.
Okay. That was Dr. Maryam's presentation, and we'll be taking questions from now. So if you have any question, drop in the Q&A session, or you raise your hand, and then we'll allow you to ask the question so that we can answer. So we're waiting for your questions, please.
While I'm waiting for questions okay, I can see Louis Serwa Sarpong raising her hand. I think we can go with Louis. Okay, Louis, unmute it. You can speak.
Okay, Louis, go ahead. We can hear you. You can speak now.
Lois Serwa Sapong, please go ahead. Okay, well, okay. I think there's a question in the chat. So. Okay.
Okay, let me read the question out then. I can see a question in the chat. I think we need to engage the alumni through the institutions and the national associations. These bodies can play a role in linkage. Students need guidance early in their career, and those who have gone through it know the journey can be the best mentors. Involving the alumni is a win. It's a win situation for everyone. For the alumni, it brings them closer to this passion again, feeling of relevance again, connection with the community, and transfer of knowledge. For the student, it creates opportunity for mentorship, role modeling, linkage to other senior colleagues through the alumni, and becomes an information source for them. This has an overall mental health benefit to the alumni, as research has shown. Okay, so I don't think that is a question. I think that is a contribution, but Dr. Maryam can decide to speak about that.
Thank you so much for the great session. That's basically to connect the different optometries from different regions. Thank you so much, first of all, to OptoGlobe. Moreover, the question I think that's not basically about the question, but I want to ask about this. As alumni are the main cream of the any optometry school, so we can engage these alumni after the graduation for further proceeding, for any sort of the student engagement. As at my campus, what we do, we arrange a alumni session to collaborate, to share we welcome our alumni at alumni meetup to share their stories, what they are doing after the graduation, how they are proceeding in their professional life. So alumni are the cream of any school after the graduation. They are the proud of their institute. Proceeding with the alumni associations, this is a great initiative to indulge them with the proceeding, to make any initiative, what their challenges are proceeding. We can do work for these challenges to overcome alumni sessions, to proceeding the betterment of their professional life.
Right.
Thank you
so much.
Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, so I think we have a question. It's not in English, so we need a translator to translate that question before.
Yes, I can I can give you the question. Basically, Maria is asking whether AI would be able to calculate prescriptions in the future precisely, so then they can be available for all people.
Well,
Time will take that a little bit. Dr. Levi can expatiate on that. We have a presentation in our forthcoming conference in Ibadan, I think on the 2nd, and that's on on the 1st, on the 2nd, yeah. It's gonna be on telerefraction, and that's one of the research program that was sponsored by One Sight Essilor Lusotica Foundations, and that is ability to refract a patient indoors. Telerefraction is all about how you can use gadgets to determine your refractive status, and then forward the result of the prescription to a clinic or to an optician, and it will be done and sent back to you. Before the advent of that, I had what we call a vision tester. One of the clinics where I worked, the owner of the clinic happens to be a member of British Dispensing Opticians. He was a vision tester, so you just have to, just like an auto refractor, you put your face there, you see the writings. You put, if it's at far, you see the writings, then you turn the knobs and continue reading, and you're turning either back or front until you're able to get to the best line you can read. Then the same thing, you do it at near, you put your face, you see the letters, the near chart reading, you now begin to turn until you have the words are eligible. After that, you press input, okay, and the paper will print out your prescription. And a lot of research has been going on, just like a research done by the American Academy of Optometry, to merge interpretation of the optic nerve head done by the OCT and the other devices with the interpretation by experts. I happened to participate in that research. That was in Seattle, Washington, United States. And the outcome of that research shows that there was no much disparity between the calculation of optic nerve head by the professional compared to what the OCT AI was able to calculate, showing that the OCT AI had almost a 95% accuracy with 99% confidence interval in that research. So they are also doing this again, comparing these research results, prescription from the machines and from what the optometrist gets when you do your proper refraction, and then what you get from there. And that is bringing to the front the need for us to go beyond the regular refraction, because of course, if you're using machine telerefraction, there are a lot of issues that are not taken care of in terms of accommodative anomalies and other divergence problems and things that are there. And that is why in the GOC now, the emphasis is on BVT, binocular vision, vision dysfunction, as a very, very component part of refraction. Otherwise, AI will take over the job, because most of these machines have very high accuracy level and can predict refractive status and give prescription. And the patient will stay there. You put it in your system, the optician will fix your glasses and they will bill it, and you get your prescription without going to the clinic. So we're looking at the advantages and disadvantages of this. That's why we're discussing teleoptometry in the conference. Dr. Levi is the anchor, teleoptometry, and we have world renowned, including the WCO president is among the panelists that will be discussing the implication of teleoptometry to the practice of optometry worldwide. So I think we need to be a step ahead and to help us in that. Yes, I'll send you, Dr. Levi, I'll send you the article. It just came out last 2 weeks, and we're sharing it in the conference on the Friday morning. So these are the implications. But if it's AI to interpret refraction or to get refraction, yes, there are machines that are doing that already. So we need to move a step ahead so that we remain relevant in our job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor. So I don't think we have more questions. I don't think we have more questions.
I think we have a hand raised.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that should just be the last question. Yeah, Felicitas Akidi, please unmute and ask your question. And also do tell us who you are asking the question, so we can move on quickly. Thank you. Felicitas Akidi. Okay, Josephine, I think we can move on. He or she is not responsive.
Okay, so I think we have come to the conclusion of today's session. We have come to the conclusion of the Q&A session for Dr. MARYAM JABBAR and for every other Q&A session, and to the end of today's session, to the end of the Optometry, the Global Optometry Student Summit. And I want to just say thank you for coming. Thank you to everybody. We are really great. We are really glad to have you. It's a great time. So right at this moment, I'll be welcoming on board somebody who actually put this in place, the founder of OptoGlobe, my coursemate, my classmate, yes, here in University of Benin, Nigeria. So I'll be welcoming him to give us a speech, and then we can move on. Mr. Pemije Gadimo, please, sir, can you take the mic?
All right, thank you very much, Josephine. I'm very delighted to once again address everyone at the summit. 4 days, and today is the last day, day 4, and I think we've made so much progress. We've had so many discussions, from the first day, that was July 11th, till July 14th, and like I always say, the directors for students communications always do, give a very deep insight into everything about OptoGlobe, or what I would have said, and I'll just, lay some emphasis as I received some questions or messages about persons inquiring about certificates of participation. For persons who are interested in getting those certificates, you have to mail us at info.optoglobe@gmail.com. If there's any director who can just quickly send us in the chat, Amogelang, Mark, Adeboye, Moses, Luke, anyone who can just send us in so everyone can see the mailing address. You can mail us at info.optoglobe@gmail.com, and would just, you with a request for a certificate of participation with your full name, the day of the summit you attended, and would respond to you. Secondly, the editorial board of OptoGlobe, with Chinelo Ikele as the editor-in-chief and a beautiful team, would be requesting for articles from various optometry students, optometry professionals and lecturers in various schools to kindly please send us articles for our first OptoGlobe monthly newsletter on recent happenings in optometry schools, or your optometry schools rather. Good news is our partner, Know the Globe. Know the Globe is kicking off later this month, hopefully tomorrow, July 15th. I'm unsure of that due to our busy schedule, but that was the day we scheduled to kick off a contest for all OptoGlobe members and optometry students, and as well optometry professionals, for a video contest, Globe-related awareness video contest. The grand prize was a $250 grand prize, and so many other consolation prizes. So you're all encouraged to follow OptoGlobe on all social media platforms. Join OptoGlobe. The membership form has been sent in, and I encourage everyone to join in. So I'll just want to appreciate some persons before I hand over to Maria, who is the Executive Director of OSHA International, to close the summit. I would just love to, give some few appreciations. Without these persons, I do not think this summit would be holding. I may miss out some names. So if you're on in the meeting and probably I miss out your name, apologies, as I have a lot of names here, but I'll just do well to mention all the names and appreciate everyone. I'll be appreciating all our speakers for today: Dr. Anderson, CHIMEZIRI, Dr. Levi, OSUAGWU, Dr. MARYAM JABBAR. In fact, Dr. MARYAM JABBAR, I think, should be the very first optometry lecturer who reached out to me when we started OptoGlobe, and she's really been helpful since then, and she's been an ally. Thank you so much, Dr. MARYAM. I would love to thank VOSH International, the president of VOSH International, Professor Dr. Hector Santiago. He was present yesterday and he spoke. I would love to thank Dr. Howard from VOSH International, Dr. Michael Sizek. In fact, special appreciations to to Maria, who is the VOSH International Executive Director. You may not see her here. She's always behind the scenes, doing a lot. And I mean, she's pulled all of this, literally together. And I really do appreciate her. I appreciate our partners at Know the Glue, Megan Weber, co-founder of Know the Glue, Helen Damaris, and Know the Glue. I appreciate Dr. Yogita Rajgandhi. I appreciate Dr. Tarek, Mahmoud, Professor Dr. Mudhar. Professor Dr. Mudhar is the head of Department of Optometry in the University of Baghdad, Iraq. Professor Dr. Jen Vinola. Of course, I can't mention all the names, all the professors, all deans of optometry schools in the US for accepting our invite yesterday, and also passing it on to all optometry students across the United States. I appreciate the American Optometric Student Association also, EOSA. I appreciate all directors. In fact, I think the board of directors at OptoGlobe is a wonderful team. Could be coincidence, but there's this synchrony. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate Moses Adetoro, the Director of Administrations, Adetona Adeboye, Director of Public Engagement and Advocacy, Amogelang Daiseku, Director for Partnerships and Collaboration, who is always behind, most of the partnerships we get to enjoy. I appreciate Rachel Harmon. Rachel was the one who connected us to VOSH. She's our Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. I mean, she's a really, really wonderful person from the New England College of Optometry, USA. I appreciate Luke Quadros, our Director for Students Communications in Australia. I appreciate Simra Azram, Director of Students Communications for Europe, who is, I believe, unavoidably absent today. I appreciate Mark Donko, Director of Students Communications for Africa. I appreciate Kinza Zeb, Director of Students Communications for Asia. I appreciate, like I said earlier on, I may miss out some names. There are so many names. But then again, I want to appreciate some persons on the summit committee, the publicity and social media committee, who have been helpful towards our cause, who have always answered our call. I would first on the list, Fitzserwa. She's been behind all the lovely captions, which we've been using to post publicity. Peace Ernest, yeah, she's a senior colleague of mine at the University of Benin. Divine Gift Orji from Bingham University, I believe. Nizam Udin SK, who was a moderator on July 11th. Ranim, Raed Alhaj, moderator on July 12th. Speaking of July 12th, I appreciate the Director of Students Communications for the Middle East, Danielle Lomran, and her wonderful team. Also, she has a different team entirely. I appreciate Jimin Josephine, Director, who is the moderator for today. I appreciate yesterday's moderator, Yarlis Dominguez. I appreciate Anna Krawick, too, from yesterday, and Erickson, both directors of students communications for North and South America. I appreciate Mujahidul Islam. I appreciate the editorial board at OptoGlobe. You can't underestimate them. They've been doing a wonderful job. Chinelo Ikeli and Kit Kumar, Abba Kura, Samim Dash, so many of them, wonderful people. I appreciate my own class rep, Nemi Gladin. I think I saw him earlier on the call. He's also been helpful. He's my class rep at the University of Benin. I appreciate everyone who's been joining us. Like I said, I may have missed out on some names for the sake of time. In fact, to show we really do care about you and all you've done for us, we'll be sending out certificate of appreciation to all the beneficiaries or persons we believe at OptoGlobe has helped us so far. On this note, we'll be sending, for PDFs and for documents, we'll be sending in the PDFs of all the speakers so far. Also, all the recorded sessions for the summit will be uploaded on YouTube, and we'll send in the link soon. On this note, I think I'll be handing over to Maria Morera from Bosch International, a wonderful executive director, she's really, 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 really a nice person. Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Pemija. Those were very kind words of you. It's been wonderful to partner with OptoGlobe in the last 4 days. I personally learned a lot and I feel very motivated. I think when we come together with flexibility, with creativity, with great commitment, we can achieve great things. And I'm very glad that we have contributed a little bit to this process. As Bosch International, we definitely need your voice. We need the voice of the students to ensure that whatever we try to implement or whatever we try to do is informed by what you require and what you need. I want to highlight 2 things. One that has been mentioned today by our esteemed lecturers, which is about education and continuing education. We need to continue learning. Life is a process of learning. And I think at Bosch, you will find a platform where we can offer accredited continuing education for all. It's always been our ambition to share the knowledge and expertise that our volunteers, optometrists, and doctors have. So let's work together to put a good program of lectures and education that can help you expand your horizons. That is possible, that is in our agenda. We are always willing to do it. There's no limitation of day or time for us. We are here to help you. The other aspect that I would like to encourage students to think about is about patients' education. You are not only clinicians, you are not only researchers, but you are also educators. And our countries, our people in our countries need education. They need to value their sight and value the eye care professionals who can help them continue learning, working, participating. So let us also take that challenge to learn how to communicate with our patients. Very often, and I can tell you myself, I'm not a doctor by profession. I studied civil engineering. I'm an honorary doctor. But before I joined work with optometrists, I really didn't know what optometry was. I didn't know what an optometry trees do. So I was completely ignorant about the different eye care professionals. And in my country, there is still a long way to go to recognize optometry as the key primary eye health profession that it should be. So let's take that challenge and let's learn how to communicate with our patients. They really need to learn more about what you can offer to them. And finally, I would say don't be scared of excellence. It is in our hands to be the best professionals we can do. It is in our hands to connect, to collaborate, to look for contacts as OptoGlobe is doing. So excellence is in our reach. And now with the tools we have at hand, it is possible. So let's work together. Let's put goals together and let's achieve them. In the family of Bosch International, we are always open to new ideas. We are open to collaboration. We want to contribute with the little we have to make things happen. And I think I feel the same. It takes place within OptoGlobe. So we will be honored to continue working with you and supporting all the work that you are planning to do in the future. So thank you very much for making us part of this great initiative. We are very proud to be your partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. We are very proud to also be partners of Bosch International, and I hope we all together make a common statement on the global platform. Thank you very much. Like I had to do this yesterday, and I believe we also have multiple attendees from various languages, as I can see some Haitians here too. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Gracias for Spanish. Thank you, everyone. Josephine, over to you.
Okay, so I really feel bad that this is ending today, sincerely, because I've learned for the past 3 days, I've learned a lot. And I mean, there's been this push that is pushing me to do something. I mean, like, let them know about optometry, tell the world about optometry, right? So I've learned a lot, and sincerely, I'm not happy that it's ending, but I believe that OptoGlobe will bring more of this where students can learn, and then they get motivated to do a lot of things. So I just want to say thank you for everybody that has joined us from the beginning of the conference to the end. Those that couldn't join all the sessions, I say thank you for joining us today. Those that stayed from the beginning to the end, and those that joined during the session, I say thank you. Thank you from the people who came from Australia to join the meeting, those from Europe, and then the countries around Africa. I say thank you very much. It has been a wonderful time. It has been a great time, and I look forward to doing more of this. And I look forward to connecting to a lot of optometrists around the world. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely day, a lovely night, whatever the time is, wherever you are. Thank you very much. I am Josephine Jimmy, your host for today. Bye.
Bye.